So what is a paleo desk? What's a paleo workspace? In this video series, I'm going to try to define and create my versions. I'm Charlie Hudson, and you are watching Reanderthal. I've had a paleo blog and a YouTube channel for several years now, but I've struggled to put out regular content. But now I'm going to be moving, and I thought this would be a good opportunity for a series. Sometime in the near future, I will be moving from my grandmother's house on my parents' property to my girlfriend's house, and my workstation and home office will be moving from the living room into my girlfriend's basement. I'm hoping to take the clean slate that this move provides and redesign my workspace to optimize it for the way that I'd like to be working. There's going to be a number of facets to this, from ergonomics to workflow to environmental footprint, possibly radon remediation. I'm not an expert in any of this or in any of the skills that I'll be needing, but I've done a lot of musing about some of these topics, and I thought perhaps this video series could be good food for thought for a few people out there. So in this first video, I just thought I would outline what some of my priorities are going to be. I actually took some of the things that I've been daydreaming about and worked backwards to define the core principles that are going to be guiding me. These are health, productivity, and minimal cost and footprint. Sometimes these principles will reinforce each other, and other times they'll be in tension, but I'm going to try to keep them balanced and in the forefront. So the first thing that I'll be focusing on is health, and this being a paleo blog, this is going to be through the perspective of the ancestral heuristic, which thinks back to the environment that our bodies evolved to expect, and thinking about how we can provide those features in a modern workspace. So one of the things that this means is movement. It will include a standing desk, of course, but also things that reinforce regular movement and a variety of different kinds of movement. Being in a basement like I am, it's going to include air quality. Maybe bring some plants in here, maybe a HEPA filter, I don't know. Another thing that I'll be thinking a lot about is the lighting. I want to have lighting that's going to reinforce rather than disrupt my circadian rhythms. There are also some softer things which I think fall under the health category. I want to have a space that's pleasant to be in, and I want to have a space that has character. In building this desk, I want to be expressive. It's kind of a squishy thing, but I think that is an ancestrally important thing to us humans. I'm really happy about these windows, being able to look outside at the natural world, and being at standing height, I'll be able to look out those and get the sort of quality natural distractions as opposed to getting sucked into a TV or urgent but unimportant emails, or the ad-driven, notification-reinforced internet vortex. So this brings me to the second principle that I'll be focusing on, which is productivity. A big part of this is going to be pre-decision making, making my decisions beforehand. So this means earlier in the day or the day before, but it also means making choices as I design my workspace, rather than to think that we can will ourselves to be focused and productive, to actually create a space that encourages and reinforces that behavior. One of the things I want to do is remove the opportunities for low quality distraction. I don't want to spend time sucked into random rabbit holes on Facebook. I'd rather be looking out the window at actual rabbits. The other part of this is reinforcing focus and flow. A big part of that, as I envision it now, is taking measurements that are relevant and having a way to display those easily so that I can track how I'm doing as the days and weeks progress. Another thing I'd like to be able to do while designing this space is reduce the opportunity for clutter accumulation, because that's something I have a particular aptitude for. And then, of course, I'm going to want to make sure that I have relevant tools for all my important tasks right at hand when I need them. The last principle is minimal cost and footprint. Part of that has to do with my budget. I don't have a lot to spend on this, but the other part of this is the environmental footprint. And happily using recycled materials where I can will contribute to both of those. And it's also going to add character, which again ties back into some of the squishier aspects of having an ancestral space. I also want to keep the long-term costs down. And a big part of that is going to be creating things which are upgradable and eventually reusable. So I will be designing around the specific monitors and computers and equipment that I have now, but I recognize that with the pace of technology, I'll be upgrading those probably in a few years. So while I want to create something specifically for them, it also needs to be easily upgradable and expandable and adaptable to a changing future. And then the final part of this is to keep the daily energy use down, removing things like phantom loads from power adapters that are plugged in, drawing power even when the equipment isn't on. So I'd like to put a lot of these adapters and whatnot onto switches. I've tried this in a haphazard way with this desk, but I want to do it really purposefully from the outset with this new desk. I want to be able to either turn the entire system off or turn off specific devices when they're not being used, while of course powering the stuff that I am. That's not a good way to say that. Blah, 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 blah. That's it for now, but hopefully I'll have more videos coming out as the month progresses.